Everyone told her the same thing. Accept it. The doctors have spoken. Your daughter is gone. But every time Mary Heaster looked at her daughter's grave, something inside her refused to believe the story she had been given. She had no evidence, no witnesses, no proof, just a feeling so powerful that it would eventually force authorities to reopen the grave and uncover a truth nobody was prepared for. Because in 1897, one mother's refusal to stay silent exposed a murder that might otherwise have remained hidden forever. Before tragedy struck, Zona Heaster was known as a bright and beautiful young woman living in the quiet hills of Greenbrier County, West Virginia. She was young, full of life, and like many people her age, she dreamed of building a happy future. Neighbors remembered her warm personality and gentle nature. Nobody imagined that her name would one day become part of one of America's strangest murder mysteries. Not long before her death, Zona married a blacksmith named Erasmus Shue. At first, the marriage seemed like the beginning of a new chapter, a new home, a new life, a new future. But not everyone felt comfortable around Erasmus. There was something about him that people found difficult to explain. Nothing obvious, nothing criminal, just a feeling that something wasn't quite right. The kind of feeling most people ignore until it's too late. As weeks passed, some members of the community continued to feel uneasy around Zona's husband. No one accused him of anything. No one suspected what was coming. But years later, many would look back and wonder whether they had missed warning signs, hiding in plain sight. Because sometimes danger doesn't arrive looking dangerous. Sometimes it arrives wearing a smile. Then, on a cold January day in 1897, everything changed. The young boy was sent to the Shue home on an errand. When he entered the house, he found something terrifying. Zona was lying motionless on the floor. She wasn't breathing. She wasn't moving. She was dead. The boy ran for help. Within minutes, neighbors began arriving. Soon, the entire community was in shock. A healthy young woman had died without warning, and nobody understood why. As preparations for the funeral began, people noticed something unusual. Erasmus seemed extremely protective of his wife's body, especially her head and neck. He carefully positioned her, adjusted her clothing, and became upset whenever anyone got too close. At the time, most people assumed it was grief. After all, everyone mourns differently. But for some observers, his behavior felt strange. The feeling lingered long after the funeral ended. For Mary Heaster, the funeral brought no peace. If anything, it raised more questions. Night after night, she replayed every detail in her mind. The rushed burial, the unusual behavior, the unanswered questions. The official explanation simply didn't make sense to her. And no matter how hard she tried, she could not silence the growing suspicion that something terrible had happened to her daughter. Most people dismissed her concerns. Some believed grief had clouded her judgment. Others felt sorry for her. Few took her seriously. But Mary refused to stop asking questions. Again and again, she approached local authorities. Again and again, she insisted they had overlooked something. Many people thought she was wasting her time. But persistence can be powerful, especially when the truth is waiting beneath the surface. Eventually, Mary's determination achieved what many thought was impossible. Authorities agreed to reopen the investigation. The grave was exhumed. Doctors were ordered to conduct a more thorough examination. What they discovered changed everything. The official explanation that everyone had accepted was about to collapse, and the mystery was about to become a murder case. The examination revealed a shocking truth. Zona's neck had been broken. This was not natural. This was not accidental. This was homicide. Suddenly, the woman many had dismissed no longer appeared irrational. She appeared correct. Questions immediately turned toward Erasmus Shue. Why had he acted so strangely at the funeral? Why had he been so protective of the body? What exactly had he been trying to hide? As investigators dug deeper, evidence continued to build. Eventually, Erasmus Shue was arrested and charged with murder. The trial captured public attention. Crowds packed the courtroom. Newspapers followed every development. Witnesses described his behavior. Doctors presented their findings. And as the evidence accumulated, the case against him became increasingly difficult to ignore. When the jury finally reached its verdict, Erasmus Shue was found guilty. Justice had finally arrived. But one mystery still remained. How had Mary known? More than a century later, people still debate that question. Was it intuition? Did she notice details others overlooked? Was it a mother's instinct refusing to be silenced? Nobody can answer with certainty. What we do know is this. Everyone accepted the official story. Everyone moved on. Everyone stopped asking questions. Everyone except one mother. One mother who refused to let doubt be buried alongside her daughter, and because she refused to stay silent, a killer was exposed. Perhaps that is the real mystery. Not how the crime was solved, but why was only one person willing to question what everyone else believed? And sometimes, that one person is all the truth needs. History is not old. History is living inside us. One day, one event, one lesson. Mr. Feedy,